Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Away Day Show. We are getting even closer to start the Premier League season, which is very exciting. The transfers are sort of coming to a halt, I guess, until the end of the transfer window. So we'll cover that a bit at the start of the episode, but then a heavily contested, a few arguments I think is in store for the second half of the show. We're going to be doing our top 5 in goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders and forwards of the Premier League. So keep watching and have a look for that one out. We'll start here with just a few of the moves that are going on. We talked a bit about St. Max a bit last week, but more in relation to Harvey Barnes. He's now officially joined Mahrez and Firmino there out in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. What was that team?
I think that is... Oh, now you've tested me.
It's Al something. It's one
of
them.
It's one of the... It's not Gerrard's team, it's the other team.
Yeah.
It's the blue one, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, regardless.
But the point is, I saw a tweet.
That's what
I literally saw a tweet, and they're like, this front three is better than half the Premier League front
Isn't it
threes.
the one with Koulibaly and...
I think the same.
What was this?
Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah. So it's Mane, Firmino,
That's crazy.
and Mahrez.
Yeah.
No,
All on the same team.
Mane's gone to Ronaldo's team.
No, Mahrez, St. Max, Firmino. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Sorry,
That's what I meant,
Yeah, because
But-
Mane's gone to...
People were saying like United fans would be taking this front three, and to be honest, I would as a United fan take that front three. How crazy now is it? Like we keep saying every week, but it's like every week gets like as more transfers get confirmed, the crazier it gets. Like seriously, are you gonna be watching Saudi week 1?
Well, I think the start, and I think in all honesty, like I'm not going to be watching the games, but like I would definitely be tuning into the highlights.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a start. I'll be watching more highlights of the Saudi League than I would have watched, the French League highlights in the last 5 years, or the German League, so I think in the sense that like getting eyes on the league, it'd definitely do that because there's just like if Ronaldo wasn't enough 6 months ago, there's just too many names now to like not have an interest or as United fans or as Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, like, you want to see how Firmino's going. You want to see how Kante's going. You want to see all these players who you've had a connection with at your club going. So it'll be getting a bunch of Western eyes, I'm sure, on the league. And just in terms of the surprise factor, I saw the other day that the PIF, who's like heavily funding the league, like the Saudi government, the government-backed bank, whatever it is has come out and said like we're going to be willing to put like 14, 15 billion into this league.
I've heard it, 17 billion banked away
up until like 2030. So it's like, I don't expect this to slow down anytime soon. So I think in terms of that shock factor, you got to start getting used to it because don't be surprised if some of the biggest household names continue to go to the Saudi league for the next 10 years. So it's interesting and I guess exciting in a sense as well. The biggest clubs and players in the European soccer sphere have never seen anything like this before, and it's definitely a shake up. So it is definitely exciting.
Yeah, well, from my point of view, like kind of around the same thing, but still a bit skeptical on it. Yeah, at this
I'm still
not convinced because
it's a visual factor. I'm not totally, but I'm probably most with it. Flynn's saying the neutral, and you're
I think at the start Flynn was more on the...
He was more with you on
skeptical side as well.
I just wasn't sure with the long term. I wasn't sure how like sustainable the methodology was, right? But I was skeptical about what the long term approach is. But I think I've sort of like as it's gone over the last couple of months, and I've seen the increased investment, and I've kind of heard about what the long term goal is, or at least sort of made up in my mind at least like what the potential long term goal is. I've definitely come more to terms with like the approach with it, and whether or not it pays off, I don't know. But I think they're giving it, in my opinion, the best crack you can sort of give it to be like a completely external league, trying to crack into the top 5 European leagues and play Champions League football, etc., etc. I think they're going all in on that. So I respect what they're doing. Yeah. Whereas
for me personally, I still think there's a bit of a worry in terms of like when 2030 comes, as you said previously, the money is going to run out. Yep. And I don't see, no matter how big the league is...
7 years.
No, but I don't see, no matter how big the league is, how many household names they got in. When the money runs out and you start to pay normal wages in comparison to...
What happens
like in Europe, like the wages you're paying... Like if you were to play for a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or whoever it is, once you start paying wages that are normal and not getting them over with wages that are 3-4 times the amount, I don't think players will go. I think it will just go back to how it is. I think this is a 7-8 year project that will look good and then it'll die and in 30-40 years time will be like, who remembers about Saudi Arabia? their little experiment.
But like as Flynn has said multiple times, and I can see it and I'm visioning it, like the whole break into the Super League or break into Europe, it's there, right? It's there.
Yeah.
So I think by the 8-year mark, they're hoping that something's happened by then, because you're right. If in 8 years' time the money is run out, which it might do, and it's very likely it could do, it's going to have a point in time where you got some decent players on really low wages, and then some like 34, 35-year-olds who've signed these massive deals now on huge deals. It's going to get an awkward point in time where someone's going to have to give.
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
appreciate that point of view there. But like, surely the eyes, the Western world, the characters to bring across, like hypothetically, if Mbappe accepted that contract, I reckon you'd see a lot of people jumping ship.
That deal is crazy.
I still disagree though, because Mbappe was never going to go to Saudi Arabia and live his rest of his career there. He was going to go for 1 year.
I don't know if that's true though. Like maybe Mbappe for some reason, not for some reason, but like clearly he has the drive to be successful in the historically the biggest leagues in the world, right? Like that's apparent. He was offered 700 million. He's turned it down because he wants to play for Real Madrid. That sounds basically what's going on.
Yeah,
but saying that,
there would definitely be players who, if they were on the same level of Mbappe's like fame and I guess potential like career, that would accept that deal 100%. 100%.
That's like
I'm
5
surprised they
generations.
haven't gone for someone like a Neymar, because I feel like he could be the type of guy that would accept it.
The thing about Neymar for me is I think the difference between Neymar and Mbappe is that I think you're willing to spend the money on Mbappe because he's like the next big thing. So it shows that he's not like a washed player.
Yeah, he's the face.
Whereas I think
Neymar.
But I think for Neymar though, you have to be paying very similar wages and very similar contracts, etc. All the money would be very similar, except the fact that it would look like he's just coming to like an early retirement.
Yeah.
Whereas if Mbappe did it, it might look like a payday, but it's also like
statement.
He's 24. Yeah. He just got a hat trick in the World Cup final. He's basically the best player on the planet. Like I think that's the difference in terms of the way the outside world would perceive it.
I get what you're saying, but again, like the likes of those Mbappes and stuff, because they're still going to be nurtured even in 2030 through Europe.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest problem. So all these players that are going to be big, even in 2035, whatever it is, are going to be nurtured through Europe. So for them to go to Saudi Arabia, do you think just because it's maybe the second or third best league, they'd go to Saudi Arabia for the same wages as if it was, or just let's say a little bit higher? It won't be the same, but a little bit higher, but not exponentially higher.
If it becomes one of those big leagues, then the whole Mbappe debate has no debate, because it's the whole prestige of where he's playing. Yeah. PSG isn't, the league is itself not that great as it is, but still.
Prestige, it's like, it takes a while.
Oh, I understand that, but if the players are there,
7-8 years.
You can't.
If you got players there,
like Man City, like PSG, like all the Saudi-backed clubs, you can't buy the history, right?
No.
And at the moment, all these clubs, regardless of their success, I still say, like Saudi money, the success is like discredited because like it's looked at as buying the trophies. Yeah. But over time, you establish this, and I think what you're disregarding in terms of the like money factor is that they're overpaying now, right? And they're definitely taking huge losses on the immediate transfers. But as they keep buying players, as people start to tune in progressively over the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to start getting bigger TV deals. They're going to start selling more shirts. The league's going to become more so sustainable. Yeah. It never will be with their approach at the moment. But as in, they're going to be able to like subsidize some of their future expenses by getting like, viewership from the players they're already having. So it's a bit of a cycle to help prolong their investment in the sense that they're not going to just be chucking like, 16 bill out from their back pockets. It's going to be like, maybe 8 bill from here and 8 bill, which will come in over the next 7 years.
TV rights and sponsors
and then worst case, they stop buying players. These guys live out their contracts and they lose a couple of $1 billion because over those next 2 or 3 years when these guys play out their contracts, people still watch and that dies off a little bit. And the experiment fails, but I think best case is I think the absolute best case
hangs around
is that they somehow end up with their own league, which is they're actually convincing me more and more as there's like 5 or 6 teams now which I feel like have massive name players. I don't know if it's 4 or 5 or 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it's 5 at the moment.
But it's like I went from thinking Al Nassr, Al Hilal, they might be the 2 big guys, but it feels now that there's like 5 or 6 big big clubs in that league now who are actually splashing the cash.
It's not just players, right? Like managers. Marco Silva's been contacted for a massive deal. Nuno's obviously there as well.
Well, you know, like I think Steve Gerrard's the best example. Like, you know, I'm sure he's probably best mates with Gary Neville.
Yeah.
And the whole Qatar World Cup, Gary Neville was opposed to like, opposed to like Saudi, Middle Eastern influence because of like, you know, the human rights issues and the moral side of it. And it shows like, I'm sure one of his best mates from playing with England, his generation, is now coaching that league because the money talks.
Yeah.
Like the fact of the matter is, no one's denying that the money talks at the moment, right?
100%.
You see Igalo say, I get paid a lot to play here. So that, like, you know, no one's denying that. And the Saudis are going to be the first to not deny that because they're the ones paying the money. They understand how it works.
No, I don't think that's...
But it's not about that. It's about the fact that like they're hoping they can convince a generation not of like big football heads like us who really care about the traditional aspect of the game.
Yeah.
They're not trying to convince us. They're trying to convince the guys with the money, the guys in Asia, you know, the proper casuals who only care about the names. Yeah. They're trying to convince them to care about their team. Put enough eyes on this team that the rest of the world can't ignore them, and then as a result, get this. The other guys will be like, okay, you know. It turns out you bring in a lot of money. We want to be mates with you.
Yeah.
And they end up playing in the same league.
Before you start.
That's why, that's my opinion.
Before you go, just quickly before you go, we talked about prior to this, the whole like prestige thing and not having it there. But I think a greatest example, you talked about City. We can't now not going to say oil club or this because they've now won a treble. They're now got a system. They're the best academy in the world, arguably, or England right now.
You can say it, but even if you do say it, it's like, players don't go there because they get paid a lot anymore. They go there because it's Man City.
It's created history. So the league can. I'm saying the league can come out as well.
They were never paying ridiculous.
No, but they've always been the oil club
fees,
fake fans.
I think it's a lot easier to deal with transfer fees being overpaid than players being overpaid. Transfer fees are a lot easier to deal with. Like you can correct that.
I don't think that's the point though. It's more.
I promise you, they're being overpaid. I promise you, the players are on massive.
It's your premise of saying like a not prestigious league because it can become prestigious in a few years. We've seen City in the last 12 years dominate England, and now you can't call them the oil club or empty hat and all this stuff. Like
again, from my point of view though, no matter who they bring into the league, it might trump the French league, it might trump the Bundesliga, but it's never going to be of La Liga or Premier League, even Serie A status.
But I don't necessarily think that's what they're trying to do. You know, we're talking about what is ranked like the 60th or 70th best league in the world. Yeah. I think they're just trying to become like...
in the conversation, maybe.
Like, within the conversation to the point where, you know, you see these clubs like Shakhtar Donetsk or, you know, like that Sheriff Moscow, team, like Sheriff, these random teams that play in the Champions League. They're not trying to produce Man Cities and Uniteds and Arsenals and Liverpools or Bayerns or Barças or Madrids. They're trying to produce maybe like a Napoli, like you know,
who
teams
can compete.
Which can compete. And I mean, look, maybe they're trying to be like more franchisable than a Napoli, for example. And they're trying to, you know, be sort of similarly as big as the big name clubs.
Yeah.
But I think it's more so about the fact that they're just trying to get their foot in the door. I go back to Live Golf at this every time because it's like, you know, they had this big thing at Live. They're like, okay, we're going to take a risk on this. They got their foot in the door with the PGA. Now they're getting fun, like, you know, now they got like cut a deal, whatever. I'm sure it's profitable long term. I'm sure it's a long term deal. And now the Saudis have secured a longer term revenue stream through golf, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not about becoming the biggest league in the world. Yeah. I'm certain of that. I'm sure it's just about getting your foot in the door of you know, the European soccer world.
My point being is, again, so you got 6 teams in this league, okay? So in 10 years' time, they'll probably be playing Champions League, Super League, whatever it is in 10 years' time.
That sounds like the dream to them.
Yeah. But you explain this to me. Why would a player that's go to them in 10 years' time? I'm not talking about the immediate future. I'm talking about the long term again. This is why in the immediate future, it looks amazing. But I'm saying in the long term future still, I'm so skeptical because in the long term future, if you're a player, okay, you guarantee Champions League football, but you don't have. There's no league football. But you got 6 teams competing, and then the drop off is so.
Arguably though, that's La Liga though as well.
I think you're also disregarding like the lifestyle fact. I don't, you know.
That's what I'm saying as well. Yeah.
No, but as in, I don't think people like, you know, understand what's like, you know, what living in Saudi Arabia might be like. You know, what living in Riyadh or like wherever like all these main like. I promise you, a lot of these African players who are Muslim are going to the Saudi League because they're going to a Muslim country surrounded by
safe for themselves.
It's just like a sacred, like their most sacred sort of place on the planet.
Yeah.
Like I promise you, there is an appeal to a certain demographic of player to going to the Saudi League for a lifestyle reason. We might think about it, but living in Perth, like living in a Western society, that okay, maybe it's not our cup of tea to move there straight away. And I know like that world is, I guess, becoming more progressive in the sense that like it's trying to not match, but like meet like a middle ground with like the way the Western world operates, right?
Yeah.
But like, none of us are the biggest fan of the way we have to live all the time. Like in the sense that there's definitely a lifestyle appeal for certain players to move to that country. So it's not all doom and gloom about going to the Saudi league in terms of the league's a bit mid. It's like
you're looking at it. You're playing in your league. Okay, you get the Super League, Champions League, but that's not.
But
for
arguably, La Liga is the same thing. La Liga is the same thing. La Liga has been 4 teams for how long now?
Like, okay, but the drop off.
I think 4 teams is pushing it. I think 2 teams. I mean,
Atletico, but the drop off isn't that far. Like we're talking like teams like Villarreal,
the Osasunas of the world,
will
like
beat Man United, will beat 6 teams.
You said Villarreal, who are like a borderline like top 5 team in that league.
They finished like 6 teams.
Yeah, but
Sevilla was like
Chelsea
17.
Chelsea finished 12th this year. It's like teams have bad runs. Villarreal, Sevilla won the Champions.
They will never have a bad run. Those top 6 Saudi league teams will never have a bad run because the drop off. We're talking like those 6 teams are good enough to probably every single one of them. Can come second in the French league.
No, don't get me wrong.
But then they wouldn't.
I'm definitely not denying that. And
the rest of the teams wouldn't come second in the League One of England.
I just think it's not as drastic as you think it is. I think you're making it out like it's almost like
superheroes league for a reason. Those 14 teams, other than those top 6, are terrible.
But I don't think it matters. I just don't think it matters though. No. It's like the drop off, I'm sure, is massive, but I don't actually think that matters. Like I don't think anyone cares. Anyone is ever going to care about the Saudi Arabian domestic league. I would say, people have ties to the Prem because they I care about the Prem because my uncle's from the UK, right? So that was my influence from it. Yeah. And then as a result, all of it, for some reason or another reason, we like the Prem. You like United. I like Arsenal because either our family member or like an older friend of ours or something like that, influenced us to like that league. Of course, we're never going to have a massive. That's why I don't care about the Ligue 1 or
that's the whole reason. Like,
but
it's so discredited to go to PSG. Like, even that's what PSG is like right now.
But I feel like the discredit's going to wear away. It's going to eventually fall off.
I don't necessarily think that the domestic league matters. I think it's just about.
Because why did Messi, why did Neymar, why did Mbappe all move to this one team then? There's discredited then.
I think it's not discredited to the point that this is going to be discredited.
But I reckon this has been more credited than Ligue 1.
Like as in, it's like
again, the French team's drop off isn't that far. So,
it's like
obviously they're not great.
But it's like the drop off might not be that far, but it's like, if the one team is just still better than everyone else, the only one team's going to win it.
They've only got one team
in this league. There's 6 teams that can win it every year. Then it's a 1 in 6 compared to a 1 in 1.
Yeah, but that's not
it's like, okay, they might finish at 80 points, we finish at 90, but it happens every year.
That's like if Man City just ran
away
every year.
Wanting to discredit the A League, but that's like chucking the A League teams with those top 6 teams.
But
I think,
I don't know what the big deal is about that though. Yeah. You have 6 teams that can win it compared to 1, and you're trying to say that this league has less credibility because the other 14 teams are bad. Whereas in this one, it's like
they're not just bad. They're like
whereas in this one, it's like one team.
Compared to them, they're terrible.
It's like one team that had they literally had one of the 3 best players in the world at one time together. Compared to I got an accountant.
Yeah, a farmer.
I'm not sure. But I'm obviously taking the bits,
there's a reason why Kante, Benzema, Mahrez, these are guys that peak of their powers. It might be based around religion, it might be based around the culture, but I'm assuming a player won't just do that for move their whole career just for that. There's respect there, and obviously there's money there as well. But Mahrez and Benzema, Mahrez is arguably one of the best wingers in the Premier League has seen in the last 5 years. He's been incredible. He up and left at the peak of his career after they won a treble to go and play in Saudi Arabia. It's involved. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, no.
But it doesn't discredit them. When you got big time players
coming in, take away the money and pay them normal wages,
of the passion,
who would have gone there?
Probably no one.
But that changes. That's taking the whole context out of it, though.
In terms of the passion element, look, I tend to agree. You're going to struggle to validate that factor of it at all. But even if we were reaching, you could probably say that like there is an appeal to being like, you know, the one of the first big name players in this league to kickstart the thing. If you're reaching, right?
That's Odion Nagalo, just to say the least.
Yeah, legit. So
Odion's OJ.
If you like, you know, if you're reaching, that's the case. But I also think, look, we'll probably move on in a second.
Yeah.
But like, just like, you know, my sort of final thoughts on the thing is that like, I think we're putting too much emphasis on like what the fans care and what the players care. It's like, you have to look at it from the Saudis' point of view as it is purely an investment, right? They're purely doing this because they know their oil's going to run out and they're going to get no money for petroleum anymore. So like, you know, we have to figure out some other ways to get revenue.
Yeah.
Like in terms of an investment, they're just trying to think about how can we build, like, you know, how do we get a team who's going to make a lot of money? Or how do we make a team who's going to make a lot of money? So we have to get it in Europe.
Yeah.
And as a result, we need big name players who people care about. Like no one has to care. Like, you know, the passion element doesn't even have to exist. It just has to be like, just has to draw eyes. And by doing that, if you get enough casual fans on watching the screen or buying the shirt or whatever it is,
it's going to happen
like
eventually.
That will, like the money would talk, you know, if money can talk with players, they can talk with UEFA. They can talk with FIFA. They can talk with the Prem, I'm sure.
No, I don't disagree with that. Like, I don't think that's my problem, though. I think it's a really exciting project for the next 10 years.
I just think you're... Okay. No,
I just don't... I'm still...
No, but I think the reasons why that you're saying why... No, all I'm saying
3 weeks ago that you didn't see a path for the future. Now you do. I'm just saying I haven't come to that yet. I just haven't come to that yet.
Is that I just think your reasons as to why you don't think so are like way too like passion based. Whereas I don't think passion is going to play an effect.
No, I don't think they're passion based. I think they're logic based in terms of I think that once the money dries up and they have to pay people normal wages, I don't think there will be players that still go there. What they're going to do, this will become from the 60th best league to like the top 10. Top 10.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's not going to break
the top fives.
It'll probably end up becoming all right, but it'll probably end up being like an Eredivisie.
I also don't necessarily think the money's just going to rot. Like it's not just going to dry up.
No, it's not going to dry up, but it's going to dry up to the point where you can't go offer Mbappe 700 million for 1 year.
This is obviously not sustainable, but in the sense that like 7 years is a long time to you know, you sign these guys for like 3 or 4 years each. You end up with a team literally full of like 11 players who are well-known, renowned players getting paid crazy money, I'm sure, for that time period.
Super teams.
If you can put pressure on for 3 or 4 years and make it seem as though you can maintain this, then UEFA will crumble. Can't play in our league. Yeah. Bang, you're in. I'm pretty certain of that.
I agree with that, but I don't know. That's my...
Before we like wrap up on Saudi, I want to hear your personal opinion. Give me a short monologue. You're offered $700 million, you're Mbappe. Are you going to Saudi for 1 year to potentially ruin your legacy to join Real Madrid next year, or are you staying at PSG where they may not even play you?
Okay, you give yours first and then I'll give mine.
Because it sounds like he hasn't been taken on tour, he hasn't been in training, he doesn't look like he's going to be playing for them.
If I can go to Saudi Arabia for 1 year and this is confirmed, guaranteed, then go to Real after it.
Yeah.
I'd say it'd be more likely than not I would accept it. I haven't really thought about it in the depth of like, would I or would I not?
Yeah.
But I think as long as those circumstances are like, I'm not going to be stuck there forever, because I think it will hinder in sense of like him winning Ballon d'Or.
100% that makes sense.
Whereas I don't think it will hinder it if he goes there for 1 year. I think if he goes to Real and wins 2-3 Champions Leagues, he'll win the Ballon d'Or 2-3 times.
Yeah, look, in terms of whether or not I do it, like obviously 100%.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like that's only because I'm assuming that I've like agreed like a deal in principle with Madrid, right? So you know,
that's what I'm saying.
Like only 100% if I knew I was going to Madrid, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of tarnishing my legacy if I was Mbappe, I think I won't do anything to his legacy.
Neither.
Because I think like it's just like getting a paycheck and then going back to the biggest club in the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I think it. Look, I think maybe it's a little bit, you know, bad for people. Like it looks bad in terms of like, you know, your character as a player, like you're bigger than the club, something with PSG.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're gonna like get sold to whatever club it was, 100% I do it. I think like unless you're gonna get paid relatively equivalent at like PSG, which isn't like that. It doesn't sound like it's that far off, but it's not 700 mil.
No.
So
what do you reckon it is though? Do you reckon it's more than 300?
Nah, I think it's probably on like maybe
190s, 200s.
I don't think that. I was just like 50. Like, I'm gonna get.
He basically owns that thing.
Yeah, but I can't see him getting more than $1 million a week.
Yeah, true. Actually, when you think about it that way, yeah,
Like-
very true.
Like, they offered him $16 million a week or €1 million or whatever it is a week to join. Like, that's how much 700 mil is.
Yeah.
It's such an awkward spot though, right? Because he obviously wants to be the Jordan or whatever type, like with that legacy thing. Yeah. And it's going to take I think no matter what you say, it's going to take some sort of a hit going to Saudi when you're 24 years old off a World Cup, which is what you were saying.
Do you think people are going to respect him more now that he's turned that deal down?
I think that's what he thinks. I think he's trying to. Because I don't think he's that sort of player. But I think he thinks he's like that Jordan
I don't think
type.
he necessarily gets enough credit for turning that deal down. Like, it's just kind of like.
But now he's stuck, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens?
Oh, you're right though. If you're telling me
play.
circumstances such as I'm not playing for PSG
because
this year,
it doesn't sound like they're going to play.
I can play for Real next year. I'm taking him, but
100%.
Like, if you're him, you're not rejecting that if PSG aren't going to play. If Mbappe is at PSG, Mbappe will play for PSG.
I think there's still a hope that Madrid can agree like $100 and something million fee, but they're not going to go over 110. I think it's the sound of it.
I just don't see a world where PSG are so ignorant to not play Mbappe. I don't care what he's done to the club.
Awkward
it's Mbappe.
It's not. I don't think it's PSG though. It's like Mbappe is apparently like refusing to play. Like
it was a disagreement.
Too many players do this. And once the window's over,
it's all sorts out.
They want to. He's not going to go play
because
for
I'm
12
sure there's
months.
contractual issues like
saying,
you're not going to get paid if you refuse to play.
It's a proposal, but yeah, it's interesting to talk about. We'll move on. I guess I was going to build on that point. The whole price is being sparked up. So Casado's bid, I think we've agreed as being rejected. The £80 million pound bid. Brighton rejected that. But then also you've got the likes of Malcolm joining Al Hilal from Zenit for 60 million.
For how much?
Malcolm has joined the right back, the Brazilian right back, has joined Zenit for 60 million pounds.
60
million pounds. So we're living in a world right now where
I thought you were talking about Malcolm. Do you remember the bloke that played for Barca?
No, he's the
Brazilian right back. He went to Zenit because he couldn't make it in Europe. So he's gone there. He's 60 million to Al Hilal. You've got 80 million pounds for Caicedo being rejected.
Crazy.
Declan Rice is a great player, but 100 and something million for him.
I think.
And then come out this week, Chelsea have signed this youngster 19-year-old who's signed for £30 million, who've barely touched a football field yet.
Yeah, but how was like that?
I know, but how crazy are these prices? How crazy are these prices
Did
right
you
now?
just sell him?
Like, how much is it?
Who'd you just sell?
We just sell.
We didn't sell any of them.
I haven't even sold anyone.
I think maybe
Alenga.
Alenga went for 20.
What's his name?
Anthony Alenga.
Alenga. Alenga.
Even him, 25 million. Barely played last year.
Yeah, didn't touch a foot.
The prices right now are stupid. Do you reckon Caicedo is worth more than £80 million? Basically, I'm going with this.
Not if Declan Rice went for 105. It's probably fair. I would say 80 mil would be fair.
Is the fair amount.
Is the fair amount. I wouldn't say like them touching 100 when Declan Rice was 105. Declan Rice is like number one. You look at it, led that midfield for England now for what 4 or 5 years.
It feels like
for a Euros comp and a World Cup.
Yeah, it's been around a long time. It's been around
and then plus he's been like the captain of West Ham. He's been the rock solid.
He's won a trophy with it.
I'm still like not completely convinced that Declan Rice is on the levels of the Rodris and the Casemiros and those. Me personally,
the Casemiros.
What?
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced yet that he's on that level. Like, obviously, he's a world-class player, but he's got to do it at a big club.
Obviously, Casemiro's won 5 Champions League.
Yeah, he's got to do it at a big club.
But obviously not. He's not nowhere near as.
But what I'm saying is, Declan Rice compared to Caicedo. What's Caicedo done? Caicedo's been a good player for Brighton for 2 seasons.
I think Caicedo is like seriously overhyped. Like,
he's 60 mil.
Caicedo is good, and he's like 21. He's very young.
Very young.
But you know,
80 million
he was
pounds.
playing like in a Brighton team that like had a lot of the ball for most of the time, and like I think he's good, but I just don't think. Yeah, I think you need to do it for like 4 or 5 years. The problem
at a high level as well, like European competition level, right?
Like do it in Europe.
What would you say? 60.
I think it's 65 million pounds is your number.
Like when we offered 70, that was like the absolute max I would have paid.
See, Chelsea and Arsenal's first bids, which was 65,
and
70.
The circumstances around it was that, we might go on and win the league. So it was like, okay, I might
let's triple down, let's double down.
We're going to spend the absolute max, which was 70 mil for us.
Yeah.
And And yeah, we didn't budge on that, even though it might have meant winning the league. So
but if Brighton can get £90 million out of Chelsea, that's crazy for them. Can you imagine the amount of players they can get through the door for that? For Brighton, that's like 5 players.
5 players for Brighton. That's like $2.5 million Paraguayans.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Even their new striker that scored the double in the summer series, some random who's like 20 years old, he just scored a brace against Chelsea or something like that the other day.
Not João Pedro.
No, another striker.
Who the hell else do they have?
I assume you're not Sidnesi or Sidese or something. I've never heard of the guy. He was on loan somewhere last year.
Not Sinister.
No, Sinister.
No. He was he's been loaned out the year before, but he scored a double.
Where he went to like PSV last year.
Something like that. And he's come back and he's hit the ground running. And
I didn't find his name.
It was on like the PO Americans.
Yeah, they all loved it.
Series, something I saw it.
But it's crazy right now how I guess maybe this way the Saudis probably influence it, but it's crazy.
But saying that,
Højlund
60 scored 10 Serie A.
Something like that, yeah.
Højlund 60 scored 10 Serie A goals last year.
It sounds like it's 85 million with all the add-ons together. 85 million.
But then saying that, strikers are always typically more expensive than midfielders.
Yeah, it's true. There is but right now there's a bit of demand for midfielders.
I don't think it's a weird signing. I think
it makes sense, but
he's a signing that you need.
But it's in
a senior person.
The value, like the value of Højlund's weird because it's like he's
1
20,
season,
and he legit scored 10 goals in.
Here's my point of view.
But if he works out, he works.
If you pay 85 million altogether pounds for the whole package, why don't you pay 100 million for Harry Kane? Because they're trying to get Amrabat for 20 million, so that's 105 million. Why don't you just spend it all on Harry Kane? That's just my point of. That's where I'm coming from.
What about this? How many goals would he need to score combined over the next 2 years in the Prem to be worth show that he's worth the money?
Premier League goals?
Yeah, how many goals?
20.
Because he will start
every game.
He will start every game.
He will start every game.
20.
Yeah.
I don't reckon. I disagree with you.
You think?
I think he goes on a little dry patch. I play Rashford up top.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, no.
You think he has to only score 20 goals
to be worth it?
He scores 85 mil.
Yeah, in his first 2 seasons. Obviously, then the third season comes up.
So you're gonna give him
3 seasons.
You're gonna give him 76 games before you think he needs to start producing consistently.
I'm not
20 goals in 76 games to be worth 85 mil and justify the price tag.
Come on,
crazy.
How many goals did what's his name score this year?
Darwin.
I think it is
Liverpool striker.
Darwin. He had double digits.
He probably hit 10.
Yeah, but
Darwin was a lot more expensive.
Darwin was.
It was very similar.
Darwin was the exact same.
He's almost the exact same.
His add-ons get him to 100. And he probably didn't get him. They would have been scored 20 goals or something like that. Darwin was the exact same price, and came from.
Came
from Portugal.
I'll go back then. I'll go back from what I said, and I'll say 23, 24 goals in the sense that if he scores 10 this season, 9, 10 this season, scores 4. You tell me he scores 14 in his second season.
Nunes had 9 goals, 3 assists.
If he scores 10,
that's what I'm saying.
If he scores 9 goals, 3 assists, and check his minutes,
and first season,
he started a lot of games at the start, and then was coming on having 30-minute spells here and there.
I'm not convinced Højlund starts the first game.
Really?
No. Mate, you might be right. But let's say over the next 2 seasons, let's say you sign Højlund and you get over the next 2 seasons.
Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony.
He will average.
I think
he'll end up averaging 80 minutes a game, right? Like over the next 2 years.
No way. He'll average 65, 70
over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're not saying he's not going to start next season?
I don't think he'll. I don't think he'll start until there's an injury.
My God. Okay. For $85 million to sit him on a bench.
That's crazy.
That's nothing about Sancho, but Sancho actually just played. This guy's improved himself
yet. So who does he start over out of Anthony, Garnacho and Rashford?
It's Rashford, Højlund,
if you're spending
Garnacho.
What do you mean? If you're spending 85 mil
on
a striker...
you spend 100 million on Anthony and put him on the bench?
But he's proved he can.
And I'm telling you, and I've told you 100 times.
Yeah, I'm backing him in here.
But they did it. Whether it's a joke or not, they did it.
But it's in...
Garnacho
what are you saying?
So what I'm saying is I think Garnacho's starting, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I just think you just love Garnacho. I don't see Garnacho starting if you have Anthony. Bro, Ten Hag obviously loves Anthony.
Ten Hag will go
he was his first,
Rashford.
Big sign, 100 mil. Obviously, Ten Hag loves Anthony, right? So then, and Rashford's is Rashford, not your captain, but borderline your captain.
He basically is the
captain
in the field, yeah.
And then you're going to have Højlund, Ten Hag's new favourite player.
Yeah.
So, your front three is obviously going to be Rashford.
If Højlund plays, Anthony. If Højlund plays, Garnacho can't play because Garnacho plays off the left.
I don't think Garnacho will play then. I don't know why I think Garnacho will play.
So you do next week 1, Højbjerg starts.
Yes.
No,
I think he does. I think he does.
Well, you haven't even confirmed him yet. The Prem starts in like 2 weeks.
He'll get a game. He'll get a game.
2 weeks.
Tomorrow.
He'll get 2 games to warm up. He'll get 2 warm up games.
He'll get subbed on his first game because he'll be like the next Ronaldo. They'll sub him on 70th minute, and he might score a goal.
I still reckon if I'm Ten Hag, if he's just starting, you start the guy.
Obviously, if it's your boy.
There's no way I'm playing 3 wingers up front.
I completely disagree, and I'll tell you why. I think that.
Have you watched any of our preseason games? Because we are awful in the final third.
No, I don't think it really matters. I think he shouldn't. Really, the biggest thing we could do is put him in. Realistically, the 20-year-old that scored 10 goals in the Serie A last year.
Exactly, but you paid 85 million for the guy.
He probably won't.
So why is he worth so much?
Exactly. That's
it's just what everyone's worth though today. Like, why is Anthony worth 100? Why is
that's fair. That's fair. But like,
no. But what? But who else?
But
was
you're
Anthony. Who else would have paid 100
why is
million for
Mudryk
Anthony?
worth 95?
That's top bowling's problem.
No, Mudryk is
He scored a career goals of 9, let alone 9 goals and 10 goals in the Serie A.
No, but like at the same time, like I have no idea why Mudryk is worth that much.
Mudryk was worse than the Anthony signing. You have to say that.
I think Mudryk had less time.
I think 100 mil for Mudryk.
I think Anthony was way overpriced. But what I'm saying is
but everyone says
65. But he's not 80.
But the whole point is
overpriced. I don't care if he'll make it to 80.
I don't care about this overpriced thing. You bought him. Play the bloke. We have no strike at the football club. So why are you not going to start him? It just
why
seems
am I
so
not going to start him? Because I think you got to let him ease in. He's a 20-year-old.
Is he going to be fit round 1, week 1?
Yeah, but I'm not paying Martial.
Is he going to be? Because if he's fit, then he'll probably play.
But it's stupid. You're going backwards.
He's a 20-year-old that's come from the Serie A.
As Ferguson said, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Who cares how old you are?
Not about that. He's come from the Serie A, which I think the guy's got a lot of potential. Now that we're linked to him, I've watched a few of his like highlights and stuff, and he's
you know who else is a good highlight reel? Mustafi. So
no, but I'm just saying, like, I think that he's got like potential, but I don't think you should just rush them in to a Man United team who we're talking like a top four, probably top 6 team in the world, top 8 team in the world.
Yeah, but without a striker, it's like
exactly.
It's like
we can't score a goal.
It's like us with a DM. Parties. Played down.
I just give him more and more minutes.
Okay, we came second in the Prem last year. So what does that mean? We're overall, if we came second in the Prem, does that mean like we're like 4th in the world, 3rd in the world?
Yeah, like what does that mean?
Probably 4th.
Probably
4th. You probably put maybe 5th. You might you put Bayern, Barca, and then the other 3 league leaders. Oh no, 4 Napoli. So
I want Barca out of you, but continue. Yeah.
Let's say we're 4th in the world, right?
Hypothetically.
Like we still had holes in our team. Right, so we went outside 100 mil DM. We're going to play him around. He's going to play 90 minutes every week. It's like you might be 6th best team in the world, but it doesn't mean your team's perfect, right?
No one said it's perfect though, but I'm saying.
But I'm saying is in you're saying is in you're 6th to 8th best team in the world. Therefore, I think Højbjerg's not just going to walk in the team. So I think if you're buying, a 65, 70 mil striker, right?
No,
like you're buying him to play. Like
he has to play.
I think this is what happens to these players though. You look at all the likes of them, they come in for big fees, they don't perform and their career's over.
But I'm not disagreeing with you on that. Neither. I'm just saying I just think that he's going to think he's going to play a lot.
I'll disagree with you, and I'll disagree with you on one reason and one reason only. Okay? McTominay played instead of Casemiro for 4 or 5 games last year until we lost.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as not.
He will not get a starting minute, mark my words, until we perform bad. It could be match week 1 or match week 2.
I also agree he's not going to start. I said that. I don't think he's start.
Yeah,
and he might not, if we win it, we won't start match week 2. Then if we win again, he won't. He will not start until we have a bad result.
But I think my point isn't about if it takes 4 or 5 weeks. I don't care about 4 or 5 weeks out of my 76 game profile. I said
he's doing 30 goals.
I think once he gets in. You're not going to drop him after 2 or 3 bad games.
No, you're right.
And I'm sure he'll tap in a goal here and there, back 6, something like that. Yeah. But I don't see him lighting the world on fire when he gets in here.
I think what you're saying is correct. What you're saying is correct because Ten Hag doesn't operate that way. But the only thing I say, Casemiro came in when the season had started. Casemiro had come in after a dodgy
5-time Champions League winner as well.
I know because he came in when the Premier League had started.
Yeah.
Eric Ten Hag had a whole preseason in Australia, in Asia, and in Europe.
Comparing,
stop. Because your point.
It also looks so bad in the dressing room.
Yeah, your point is so limited.
If these guys go through like a whole preseason, and
Højbjerg's got 2 preseason games. Eric Ten Hag set up a system. He knows the system is so obvious now what it's going to be with the signs being made. Mount, Onana, and him. The system's playing the way it is. It's developed from last year. McTominay played the whole season before that. You can't just drop the guy who had the whole season before that for a guy who came in match week 3.
Okay, I'll tell you something. Why I think you're completely wrong with that statement. The difference between McTominay and Casemiro in comparison to whoever starts up, whoever's like that player Garnacho to Højbjerg, like that's not that much of a gap, let's say. Whereas Casemiro and McTominay,
a winger to a striker.
Yeah, but
are you kidding me?
Yeah, but Rashford's going to go out on the left.
No, it's FIFA.
No, I'm not saying Garnacho's going to play up top.
Slap a hunter.
I'm just saying if that player goes out for Højbjerg, it's not that
can't score goals. Those 3 can't score goals. They haven't scored a goal together at the front in the pre-season. The goal going from Bruno, the goal came from...
We brought in a 25-goal merchant from... You're acting like we brought in Victor Osimhen after how he played last year.
A striker's better than wingers. That's what I'm saying.
Look, all I would say is my opinion on his... Because the reason why I asked you that question about how many goals he's going to score is because the price tags, unfortunately, no one ever makes a price tag. Grealish, despite being despite them winning the treble, people would still say that he wasn't worth 100 goals.
You're right. But do you think 24 is not enough?
24 this year.
No, 24 over 2 years.
24,
I think he has to get more
obviously,
than that.
24 this year would be nuts. Obviously. I think...
not this year.
No. I'm saying as in because I was... Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
I think if he ends up... I think if he starts 60 games out of those 76, right? Let's just say they start 60 games.
Every second game he scores.
I think at least a goal every 3 in the ones he starts. So that gets you to 20. And then I think, couple of
bench.
I think 27, 28. I think around 30.
I think if he scores 9/10 this year
if he scores
14/15 next year, that's a good year.
If he scores 30 over the next 2 years
20,
and he stays fit, I think 30 is nuts.
20 is a lot of goals though.
So you're rating us the 6th best team in the world and don't think we can supply a striker, an actual striker, not a winger, a striker.
If he scores 12 and 18, I think that's good.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
For me, it's 10 and 20.
If he scores 8 and 12,
then... So if Núñez scores 15 goals this year, he's not been good.
I think Núñez will easily score 15.
I honestly think if Núñez only scores 15
and
he plays a lot...
We're not talking about all comps. If he scores...
I know.
Rashford only scored 17 and had a good year.
Because Rashford also doesn't... Firstly, it was he came from him being so bad the year before.
Awful.
And it was also Rashford doesn't just play a striker. He's not like an out and out striker.
No.
It was in a bit of a ran. It was Rashford was one scoring nuts goals. He was scoring these long shots.
But he was 6 in the Golden Boot.
But he was the only one scoring in an average team. You put an actual striker who actually is supposed to score goals in this team, then doesn't stand out as much. Rashford stands out because no one else scores.
You're right, but you're 15 will put you in.
I just think that
we'll put you 6 in the Golden Boot.
6th, 7th in the Golden Boot.
6th, 7th in the Golden Boot.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty good as a second-year player, 22-year-old striker.
Yeah, I'm not discrediting your point, but I reckon he scores 10 and 20.
14, 15 he scores.
Does that get you 6? Yeah, okay. Nah, look.
That gives me 24.
But my point to that is that maybe as a second year 22-year-old, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. Maybe maybe I'm forgetting the value of time sort of thing in this. But I just think that for him to try and live up to the price tag and the hype around blah blah being United.
I think if he scores 10, 14, then obviously that third year...
Yeah, 10, 14 is not far away from what I said. I said 12 and 18. 12
and 20 next year after, then yes, I agree. He's got to hit the 20 mark.
I think we're sort of agreeing on that. I think we're talking about 1 or 2 goals here. I think we're saying very similar things. I think if he scores 25 to 30 goals over the next 2 years, that he's been a good signing. I think if he scores less than 20, he's been bad.
Yeah, but 22, 23, I don't think it's that bad.
That's where the limit.
I think his third season's big.
I think if he scores 20 over the next 2, then it's 20, and it's well rounded over the next 2.
Yeah.
Then I think it leaves up to a big third year.
Yes.
If he scores 15 or less over the next 2, then it's okay. We're saying how's this going? If he scores more than 30, then I think it's you guys got a real gem in your hands. That's the way I would look.
We'll wrap it up there because we'll go on forever. But yeah, it's unfortunate that the price tag is so high. It's going to put the pressure.
Yeah, I agree.
So what is it? 70 mil. 70 mil. Sorry,
it's around 70. I think with all the package thing, it's 85 million pounds. Is
that what they're getting to? 85
with all the package deals and all that stuff. It's 85.
You
million
don't know
pounds.
what some of those are.
No, but as in we're hearing the 70 to 80.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Let's go.
All right.
We'll finish the second half here. with top 5 in each position, in each sort of area of the ground, let's say. I've seen a lot of different footballing podcasts over the recent season. It's been quite big at the moment as we come close to the start of the season. We'll have a lot of the familiar names in there, but it'll be interesting those sort of orders. So I think we order them well, and we can have a bit of debate. I'll read my 5-1 goalkeepers, and then we can go around,
and then we'll see
and we'll see how much we're matching.
We'll see if we got changes.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Go.
So for number 5 for me, I've got Nick Pope. The guy, I think he's big. He commands the area. The only reason I don't have any high is his back four in front of him do a really big job. I think for him, he gets protected very well. Number 4 for me has to be Ramsdale, one of the best with his feet. Can put some great saves on his day. Arsenal was big because of him. Number 3, I'm not sure if you agree with him, but I think you're really big in this guy, David Raya for me. I don't know how no one signed him yet. That the price is going. Apparently. Yeah, apparently he's going to go there. Superb keeper. I reckon the best, other than for the number 1, the best combo of hands and feet in the Premier League. I think Brentford would not be where they are if it wasn't for David Raya. Sets up the way they play. Number 2 for me has to be Edison. Yeah. Because number 1's very obvious. But Edison, obviously, probably the best with his feet. The saving, we've said, it can be harsh because he has like 3 shots against him a game and you can see he's one of them sometimes. But that's just your Man City. You're playing it with Man City, and the number 1's Alisson. Okay, he's been the best for 5 years, right?
Yeah, I agree. So, Alisson, Edison, 1 and 2, obviously.
They lock themselves in.
I've gone Ramsdale ahead of Raya.
So you've gone Ramsdale.
But then I've gone Raya.
Can I just confirm that Keylor Navas is no longer in the league?
Oh, you might have got me a technicality here.
Well, because I don't know if he's signing or not. Because if Keylor Navas is there, then he's definitely in my top 5.
Okay, see, then I'm going 5.
So
based on a technicality, I'd go Pope.
Yes, I'll go Pope.
But if technicality, I'd go Onana.
You guys also said number 1 and 2 confirmed. I don't know about number 2.
Wait, you're not going Alisson Edison?
I'm going Alisson.
Yeah,
so he's number 2 though. Because I think Alisson earns his team the most points.
He's the best keeper by a long way.
Like, Alisson is just nuts.
Alisson to the next keeper.
I hate how good he is because I just never see him stuff up. Yeah. Or if I do, it's like overshadowed by everything else he does.
But say he'll cover up for easy. How many covers himself up?
Edison,
you're not putting him on 2.
I think he's living off a little bit of his hype over the last couple of years. I think he was signed and played under an amazing backline. Had the bloody Premier League Player of the Year in Ruben Dias. He's always had a great backline in front of him. He's obviously really good with his feet, so he's quite like an aesthetically pleasing keeper.
Yeah,
I don't rate his hands. I just don't think. I don't think he makes. I just think they lose, or they concede like 1 goal way too often. Whereas I think the best keepers would just prevent that goal and they get more clean sheets, stuff like that. I think he had a bad year, but he's still in my top 5. But I'd probably...
Who you got 2?
I'd probably go Ramsdale.
Got Ramsdale too. You watch a lot of...
I think Ramsdale
I think Ramsdale gets a real hard time for some reason. Maybe one for being English. I know English keepers get like a lot of criticism.
Yeah. What do you think of me saying Onana if we're allowing that at number 5? Would you say?
I just think he hasn't been in the Prem to prove. I
just think just looking at being able to do it in the Champions League final. What he did in the Champions League final, I think.
I don't think he was that good, that nuts in the final.
He ruffled hard.
Straight at him.
Yeah.
Look, the reason I'm judging this keeper, I've seen him over a period of time. I've seen him play for over 90 minutes, etc.
Yep.
So it's like, for me, Ramsdale number 2. Just because I think, he was a vital part.
I think this is a pretty easy one.
Touching on Ramsdale, though, his stints during the COVID years with Sheffield and Bournemouth, I think it goes under the radar.
Yeah, so unfortunate.
So under the radar.
He got relegated with 2 teams.
But he was arguably so big. He was massive in those teams, though.
100%. Yeah. And he's like 23.
The guy's so young.
He's so young. Yeah.
I don't think there's much of a debate here.
I think he was 30 mil.
I think maybe we did say 1 and 2 are secure, but I don't think I'd disagree with you. I don't think I'd disagree with you if you wanted to pull Ramsdale. It's not like I go, that's an outrageous comment.
Yeah. I'm just standing up for
mine. I know.
But so I got Ramsdale at 2. Just I think his all-round game, his impact on the team is massive.
Yeah.
I'd probably put, if Keylor Navas is still in the league, he's in my number 3. But I don't know if he is. 4,
I don't think he is.
Okay, let's say he's not. I'm going to go 3 Edison then.
Yeah.
He's still up there. 4 David Raya. Okay. And then I'll go 5. I'll go 5 Nick Pope. But once again,
I feel like Nick Pope. I was very dodgy on putting him in because I was you probably gonna laugh, but I was close putting Pickford ahead of Pope.
Ooh.
Because some of the saves down the end of his start of the season is always rubbish. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the back half of the season, some of those saves, I remember the Chelsea game, the Gallagher shot where he tipped it onto the post that went behind. He's a sweeper as much as that's dodgy as it is. But
it's between Emi Martinez for me
Emi Martinez.
I actually completely forgot it as well.
I might have to change mine then. I think Emi goes
I really rate Leno.
Emi goes
and a really good year, and I think he's always been. But I just don't think that like
it's close. Pope or Martinez
like,
is one of them.
Honestly, in that fifth spot could go to Leno, Emi Martinez, or Nick Pope.
I feel like we've criminally underdone Martinez.
So I went Allison number 1, Ramsdale, Edison, so David Raya, and then in 5 could be either Emi Martinez.
Yeah,
I can remember. So that combined, I reckon if we all put it through us, we're going to go Allison, Ramsdale, Edison, Raya.
Yeah,
and
number
then,
2 interchangeable.
And then let's go. I can really go Martinez.
Yeah, okay,
I agree. What you guys?
Because he's a World. I'm just thinking about he's a World Cup winner, and I totally forgot about him.
Yeah, no. I think.
But then we're living off the World Cup would be with Martinez as well.
He's still big for the way they play there.
I think he's a very good keeper.
Yeah. He is.
But I think the Prem has a bunch of a very elite keepers.
It's so hard
like, you know, Brighton has 2 amazing keepers, Jason Steele and Robert Sanchez. Yeah. And like, so it just shows you the depth we have in the league.
The depth's crazy.
I think, you know, we won't get too much time stuck on the keepers. I think we have a pretty set top 4 and then 5.
The 5th sort of rotation.
Okay.
We'll go to the defenders. So again, we're going broader. We're going sort of not position based. This was hard for me because
I thought so as well.
It's very fluid in the way they play and what their teams are playing in.
I'm scared. I'm going to miss people.
I'm going to have I feel like I'm going to have a lot of recency bias during this. I've got John Stones 1 just because how he can play the chicken everywhere.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm acting like that's a big call, but it just feels like it is.
I feel like it's so
I've got him in my
bias.
top 5, but I don't have him 1.
I've got Reece James 2.
He's going to have the butcher in
because I think Reece James is the best fullback in the league. At the moment, when he plays on these days, he's the best fullback in the league.
The only problem with Reece James, I hate to use his cringe as line. So it's like, a player's best ability is their availability. But it's like he literally cannot stay fit.
I know.
Yeah,
but I just have to put him.
I don't have him in my top 5.
Oh gee, I have to have him at 2. I just love watching him play.
Yeah, no, Reece James is so exciting.
He's my 2. I've gone Botman at 3.
I feel like
because he was massive.
I'll say what I'm seeing from you though. Apart from Reece James, with your 1 and 3,
you reckon it's edgy.
It's recency bias.
I feel like it is, but like I'm watching from last season. What I saw
last year. I've not done it based off last year. I've not done it last year. Like you look at the likes of Diaz.
Well, that's what I'm coming to. So I'm going to finish off with Diaz at 4 and Trippier at 5. That's my 5.
I'll say mine.
Not one Arsenal defender in that.
No.
You're kidding.
I don't have an Arsenal defender either. So mine is going to be very controversial.
You guys don't have Saliba in your top 5 defenders. No. Are you serious?
I did consider it.
Saliba for me is a partnership with Gabriel. That's what I see him. I see him as a partnership. They come as a pairing.
Oh no, I still say it. I'll tell you mine. Diaz at 1.
I was going to have Gabriel in mine.
I've got Diaz at 1.
Okay, yeah.
I think like even last season he was probably City's best.
City defender has to be 1 for me. One of the City defenders has to be number 1.
2, everyone's going to have a go on me here, but I've gone Varane because I'm telling you right now, he's a bit with you though. When you were talking about Reece James, he's a bit like when he stays on the pitch.
How many games did Varane play last year?
He was better last year. I think he played 26. I think I was thinking the other day.
How many games did Reece James play? 15.
Oh, barely.
Barely.
I'll check. You guys get your
check.
I'm going to start.
The reason I go Varane at number 2 is because again, like your Reece James one. I think he got so underrated this year, Varane, because of Martinez. He's like our new signing. He's the butcher. But Varane was better than Martinez.
I hate the butcher, but go on, yeah.
Yeah, he was way better than Martinez this year. It's just because Varane's a 5-time Champions League winner. It's like, that's normal for him to play like that.
Reece James had 14 starts and 2 off the bench, so 16 games.
So if you're talking about actually whose output is the best, Varane's output was better than Martinez. So I'll go 2.
Who's your number 1? Diaz?
Diaz, 3 Stones.
Okay, John Stones, good pick.
So John Stones twice, Diaz twice so far. That's the 2 that have repeated twice.
Trippier 4.
So we both had Trippier. I Trippier 5.
And this one was hard for me. I had Saliba or Verge.
I can't believe Saliba is not.
And the reason I put
you went Virgil van Dijk from last season.
The reason I put Verge,
Liverpool were shambles.
Yeah, hold on.
Because I think you guys are too much.
Saliba or Verge is crazy.
No, brother. You can't have Virgil after last season.
Because I think you guys again are too recency biased. You got to look at the last 3 or 4 years.
You got to look at what happened last year. We're going to new season. I'm looking at what happened last year.
No, but you got to look at the last 3 or 4 years. Saliba's done 1 good year.
Well, if we say
I'm
this,
kind of judging this as in like
I'm going off what happened last year.
Oh, so I'm not.
I'm just kind of judging who I think is going to be like
the best. Yeah,
like who is going
to. That's what I mean. The best this year and best
right now.
last year. Sort of.
Like, and not on form, but it's in a combination of form and what their best.
But a combination. Verge played a lot. He could be back.
But Liverpool's weakness last year was their defence. There was no stability at the back.
Verge top 5.
Okay, you're right. If we're comparing it off last year,
2 years ago, Verge is
if we're
in number
comparing
one.
it off last year, I'd put Stones 1 as well, and I'd put Saliba in my top 5
I'm not
as well.
doing it off just off last year. I'm doing it on a
So I'm not doing that.
I'm saying if I'm picking a team tomorrow to play the 5-a-side game, whatever, like
That's picking up because
that's a bit different as well.
That's a bit different as well.
Well, I'm going off form and what they did last year.
Yeah,
so tomorrow, if I'm picking a team, that's why I'm going these guys.
I'm not really picking off form. I'm picking like who I think still like.
So just say
form obviously has a thing in it.
Just say hypothetically, Nemanja Vidic or John Terry are still playing in the league. Are you just going to pick them even if they had a stinky year last year? Because that's what you're sort of saying with Virgil. Because Vidic and Terry,
that bad.
I don't think he had I think he had an awful Liverpool awful.
But if you look at their defenders as well, Robbo was.
All of them were awful. I'm not saying any of them were good.
I'm not saying Verge was like a great defender.
He's not a top 5 Premier League centre back defender at this point in time, I don't think.
Yeah, he did not have a top 5 season, but I'm looking back at his season before. His season.
Yeah, well, the season before wasn't great.
Yeah. 2 years ago, you're going back to COVID.
But 2 years ago it was bad as well. Was the point? Like when he came back from the ACL.
Maybe I'm wrong then. I don't know.
All right, so you've gone to just a reminder of yours. You've gone Diaz,
Verge is obviously still a very capable defender.
Diaz, Varane,
Stones, Trippier. I then said Verge or Saliba.
Okay, and Flynn.
I'm gonna go.
I just don't like Saliba. He's been done 1 year.
I'm gonna go.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm very interested to hear this because you were shocked in mine. And
it's one of your top two. I honestly think I'm gonna go Ruben Diaz and John Stones number 1.
I thought they both have to be. I think they're both top 3. I think right?
Diaz is combination of form and like because it was weird. He couldn't get in the team at the start of the year.
I know it was like that's why I had John Stones ahead of him.
It was like a weird little phase where I was like, okay,
but he came in. It was awesome. When he came back
3 years ago or 4 years ago, he was PFA Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Like look. I think it's much of a muchness with those two. Like, trouble winning centre back pairing. Yeah, like both like relatively young. You know, like
Diaz is like 26 something.
Yeah, like Stones is young.
Yeah,
and they're both like in their prime. Like, they're both in their prime
ballers. Yeah.
Stones is just a beast. He's so fluid
everywhere.
Back now
left
as well.
back, right back, centre back, DM.
Yeah. So they're my 1 or 2.
Okay.
Then 3, I'm gonna go with Saliba. So I think Saliba was so important in our team last year. When he was there compared to when he wasn't there, it was like the distinction was crazy. Like, you know, we were probably the best defense in the league.
That's where my Varane one comes from.
We were probably the best defense in the league when he was there, and then when he wasn't there, like, you know, it just showed how big the drop off between him and like obviously Rob Holding's not amazing, but it's in, you know, it just showed you how important he was to our team. Yeah. So I'm going to style the play in that. Yeah, I'll probably go. This might sound biased, but I'm going to go Gabriel 4.
Yeah,
I think Gabriel.
I understand it.
I think Gabriel is so slept on.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
But again, it's a one good year.
But it's. Well, I'm about to say, as in, I think he's been good now for 3 years. I think he's had a couple of really costly mistakes, which has made, like, you know, you know how much you rate De Gea.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, that's me with Gabriel is like
a good comparison.
You know, De Gea will let in, like, you know, he'll just fumble the ball into the goal, right?
I think he always made up.
Gabriel might, you know, snap someone in the box
or slip
and give
over
away a pen.
Yeah, like,
but we're talking like 2 or 3 years ago now, right? He was so good last year, and he plays every week, 90 minutes every week. Like, you know, hasn't, whether it's Europa or Champions League now or Prem or FA Cup, he's the first name on our team sheet every week. And I think he's so important to our team. He's a left-footed centre back. He'd be the second best left-footed centre back in the league.
Yeah,
left-footed. Yeah, Diaz is left-footed.
Is he?
No, he's
I don't think he is. I don't think he's right. I think he is.
Is Diaz right-footed, or is he just good on both feet?
Diaz.
I don't know. It'd be a type of Pep thing to be good on both feet. But yeah.
Gabriel is probably first or second best left-footed in the league, in my opinion.
He's right-footed.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well,
he's best
they're both just good in their feet. I forget. I know he sometimes plays left foot.
Yeah.
But like I you know, he's a left-footed centre back, which is so hard to find nowadays, and I just think he's so important to our team.
Yeah.
And then 5, I'll probably go Kieran Trippier, just because I think
I don't think there's anything to argue though there, because I reckon your top 5 would be my top 8. So there might
be but I want to get this because I don't know how I get it, the whole 14 appearance, but Reece James is like, I reckon he's the best fullback the league's got.
He hardly played last year, and the year before that.
That's my only thing with Reece James. That Reece James when he plays is such a goal threat. He rarely ever loses a one-on-one. One-on-one matchup.
Yeah.
I just like 14. He just played 14 games last year.
Yeah.
He missed 24 games.
Such a risk.
I'm
so unreached.
The one I was considering putting in.
Just wait, hold on. Just with Trippier, and the reason I got him in my 5 is just because I think he's he's captain of Newcastle, and he's like first time on the team.
For me, he's symbolic of the change.
Yeah. Like literally, he would literally go down as history as like the turning point in Newcastle's. Like he was the first signing
from bankruptcy
to
glory.
I just think he just transformed the club, and in terms of his being an actual player, so deadly on set pieces.
Yeah,
part of like probably the second or third best, or a top 3 defense in the league. I think it's so hard to go back.
Yeah, top 3 defense. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, the one I was considering putting in, but I don't know if we can count putting him in anymore. Is Kinsella.
I think he's not
in the Premier League.
I also think it's been too long since we've seen his best week in, week out.
No, that's why I didn't put him in.
No, he's obviously a beast, but it's also like he's a beast when he plays.
His last season, not this season, last season,
he plays for City.
I
can't believe how high you got Sven Botman. You don't have Saliba. That's crazy.
So can we try and ground a 5? So can we go Stones, Diaz as 1, 2?
Stones, Diaz.
I think we got Trippier 3. We'll put Trippier 3.
I reckon Trippier's like I think if we're gonna go Saliba, I reckon we have him at 3. That's what
I'd put Varane before I put a Saliba. He's done it longer. They're the exact same player, but Varane's done it longer.
So 3 and 4, you're going 2 centre backs, and we're going another 2 centre backs.
To take Gabriel out.
I don't think
Varane in.
Just because
okay, put Saliba 3 or Varane 4.
And Trippier 5.
I'd put Varane in over your ones.
Botman and
I think Sven Botman's good, but I just think that like he's just a solid.
And then Trippier 5.
Sven Botman is an amazing attacking. His goal contributions.
I just think
I know he's a centre back, but
as a centre back, we talk about this whole Newcastle revolution thing. For me, it's those two. Like at the half point of the season, every single pundit, most people had Sven Botman and Trippier in their team of seasons. The start of the year was incredible. While Diaz was still working into it, Stones had a decent start, but wasn't.
At the same time, Saliba was also like the first.
It was Saliba and Botman as centre back pairs.
Zinchenko. At this time, it was Zinchenko, Saliba.
But I don't reckon Botman had fell off as much as everyone.
I think if you look at the numbers, Newcastle's defence really fell off towards the end.
And I think that
is that
who do you put him ahead of, Saliba or Varane? No,
I put him ahead of Varane. Yeah, Sven Botman is huge for Newcastle.
Just like a weird. Like where would you guys put Laporte in the conversation?
We haven't played.
No, not in terms of top 5, but as in like where do you think he ranks in terms of Premier League centre backs? Because he's a third choice,
but he's one of the best centre backs in the world.
But he's I just want to see what you guys think.
If he played, if you could just get him on the park, for a season,
do you reckon he's a top 10 centre back?
He'd be in my top 5. But I'm saying,
it's funny.
I think he's below Saliba.
Shows how good their depth is.
He's below Saliba, but above Gabriel. If you know what I mean. Like in your mind, I'm trying to fit in your mind. He's like in between those two there. That's where he sits.
He's start over my favourite left-footed player.
Yes, basically.
So you got that left-footed, but I like my left-footed.
I got Laporte.
Let's go to midfielders.
Yeah, okay.
Midfielders. Okay. So we're going Trippier 5. It was Varane 4, Saliba 3.
And then 1 or 2 Diaz.
And then I don't care.
And it was Diaz Stones. I can't believe Reece James is making him there.
Okay.
Mids. Okay. 5 for me, Declan Rice. Yep. Great season last season.
It's going to be so hard.
So consistent.
It's so hard. You got DMs in there already.
Super consistent. And for West Ham, they would have got relegated, I reckon, with him for adding because Souček was rubbish last season. Odegaard 4 for me. The improvement was massive. I would have had him 3, but I think the whole aura in the top 3 for me get them ahead of him. But this season, if he starts like a house on fire he had, I'll go Odegaard 3. But for me, 3, Casemiro. The whole aura about him basically was put in there for me. Did he have a great back end to the season? Absolutely. The start of the season wasn't as good as Odegaard's, probably not. So over the season, Odegaard probably had a better year, but the back ending was so big for Casemiro for United because they weren't scoring. Defensively, we needed him, and he was there. 2, Rodri. It sort of explains itself, but he's not as good as number 1, KDB.
Okay, everyone's got the same number 1, but I think that's criminal.
So obviously,
to not put Bruno in.
Yeah, I was about to wait. Which Bruno?
What?
Fernandes.
No. Bruno G's ahead of Bruno F. Bruno G's ahead of Bruno F.
You guys have slept on because he only got
I watch Fernandes week in, week out. I watch him every week.
because he hasn't produced these things. If you want to talk about
Hold
trivia
on.
and leadership,
Before
and
we
stuff,
argue about Bruno Fernandes, let's like.
Bruno
I
Guimaraes.
would put Declan Rice in my top
Let's
five.
put some other names up there.
Yeah,
So we got. So we're all going to agree on KDB.
Do your five. I want to see what you got. I want to see you got. Let's go through
I've
them
got
first.
mine ready.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
you
through
got-
it. Let's
you
go
got-
through
I'm
it first.
so-
I've
No,
gone
you think-
KDB 1, Rodri 2,
Okay, the same for
Bruno 3, Casemiro 4, Odegaard 5.
Declan Rice. Okay, Declan Rice.
I just don't. I've done the exact same as you.
Just
Except I
taking
think
Declan
Bruno
Rice
for
out.
Declan Rice.
All right, yeah, and Flynn, yours.
So what was your last name?
Odegaard 5.
Who's 4? Bruno.
No,
Bruno
Casemiro.
3. Casemiro's 4. He's
Casemiro
moved.
3.
Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno.
Okay, so I'm going to KDB 1.
Yeah.
Is Rodri your second though? Because I think
No, Rodri's not going to be mine. I don't think he'll be
I
mine.
thought you wouldn't go, but I thought
just
this
like-
was locks. They
Rodri's
boss
a
the
weird-
midfield every.
Rodri's a weird one, and Man City's midfield is a weird one. In
Yeah,
general.
I was
Like,
considering putting Casemiro ahead of Rodri.
Really? They're the
I was
best
considering-
midfield in
I
the
didn't.
world. They're best.
I didn't.
No, but they're best midfield in the world.
I think it was
though.
definitely a consideration. Though.
No,
No, it's a consideration, but they're the best midfield in the world for a
Rodri is
reason.
going to be my number 2.
Yeah, I think that
just
makes-
because like
Treble, best team.
he's probably like the second or third name on the team sheet, right?
Yeah,
What would
He
you put
is-
Gundo if he was still playing?
I was about to say the same thing.
Gundo fits in 4 for me.
I
Ahead
don't
of
think
Odegaard.
Gundo would be in my top 5.
Wow.
Just because
Missed the last 8 weeks though.
I
He's
think
basically.
I just think he like comes in and out in spurts, and then and Pep does his thing and just like rotates, and
all of a sudden,
and
yeah.
that's to
Yeah.
Gundo's detriment, not because
Yeah.
he's a bad
Yeah.
player,
No,
not
no,
because
no.
he's not top 5 quality player.
Well, when you're winning a
Just
treble, you
'cause,
have to be in and out.
Yeah,
of
just
the team.
because like
Yeah.
I think there's more staples in so I'm going to put like KDB and Rodri are both staples in the best team in the world. I'm going to go Casemiro.
Wow, you three.
Just
Committed
'cause,
three. I thought you didn't rate Casemiro that hard.
Like I rate him, but like I just don't think I just think he's like just doesn't play enough.
You think he's red cards as well?
Yeah, but the problem with the red cards is that like usually I would factor in the red cards and say that makes them.
He
less
never
good.
got one
That
around,
makes
by
them
the
less.
way.
That makes them less good of a player.
You don't never go on around.
Yeah, I know, but this is what I'm saying. So
That's nuts.
I think that makes them less good of a player. The red cards, but with Casemiro, I just think a couple of them were like weird red cards, and he got like mad weeks, and I think he had a weird first season. I'm going to back him as a whole player. I think his impact on your team is crazy.
I was say when he's on, we're on. When he's up, we're up.
And I didn't know how good he was like going forward with the ball.
He carries the
is
ball,
so good like in attacking.
It's because he gets covered by like
Yeah.
Modric and Kroos. Those two are the best in the world, right? So
I knew him like from I knew him obviously as a player, but like
he's hidden by those
obviously
two.
the perception of him, from like FIFA and how good Modric and Kroos are attacking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But those Champions
It's
League
like-
finals, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't
it's
see that
like-
happen.
You never think of Casemiro's progressive game. So I'm going to Casemiro 3.
It's our top 3 basically.
But like I'd want him to play 34 games this year, right?
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
want
No, it's fair
I'd
enough.
want him to start 34 games to maintain that spot. 4, I'm going to go Odegaard.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just think,
I agree.
Odegaard's one detriment is that I think sometimes he gets a little bit lost. But I think
I think
for the most part,
For his role, it's fine.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. For someone who watches their games, I think for his role that's okay because like it usually means that there's holes elsewhere for us to attack. I think, he's our captain of the club.
Again, he's another symbol of the whole
absolutely,
revolution.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's
He's
another,
got 5.
yeah.
Absolute staple in the
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
It's so important. And then 5, I was thinking maybe Bruno G, maybe like Bruno Fernandes, maybe Declan Rice. Who else in the mix?
Because we've had the exact same order, me and Flynn, so far. I was your 5 goes,
I
but
hear the same as you apart from Bruno.
so you just moved everyone down
I'd
though.
probably go.
2 people down.
Yeah.
Who would I like?
Because I'm happy to accept Bruno G
it's
as a
tough, man.
5th place.
Like even like Enzo Fernandez lies around that.
I was
But,
I was close, but he just.
but no,
Chelsea
Enzo,
were so
Enzo's
poor.
on
I
there.
think
Yeah.
you guys are
Chelsea's
just.
on there,
I think you guys are just
But no,
kidding
no,
yourself on Bruno Fernandes.
I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna say Bruno Fernandes.
Hey, Bruno Fernandes.
I'll tell you why I think you're kidding yourself.
See, for some reason, no.
Bruno G's
Why do you-
crazy.
what do you mean I'm
Why do you guys
kidding myself?
all
No,
hate
no, you're on about.
You guys
I
all
think
hate
he is.
Newcastle. You guys all hate Newcastle. I swear.
No, literally, it was like
No, I will say Bruno G's like my number 6.
they're 5 and 6.
Bruno G's my number 6, but I will say
I just
something.
think that he's attacking. I think Bruno last year, the amount of times I saw him hit the post or like, an assist, like whoever was a striker just completely stuffs it up.
20 Premier League still goal contributions
no.
last year.
Oh,
that's what- yeah.
And that was a
He's
bad
remarkable.
season. Plus,
Oh, it wasn't a
he's-
bad season at all. I don't think it's bad
As
season at all.
for him.
No,
For Bruno, that was a good
I
season.
think we're just
Bruno-
used to Bruno scoring 30 goals in a season.
But I don't think it's a bad season for him.
Then-
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were a mid team last year that overperformed, And he and Rashford were the only reasons we did that.
So why wouldn't you?
Because Bruno G is a better footballer and a more influential player on the team.
What about Declan Rice then?
I want to see Declan Rice do it at Arsenal.
Yeah, that's what I want to see as well.
But see, because
I'm not going to have
I think I watch too much other games, but I love watching West Ham play.
According to
I love watching him play.
McAllister in it as well. I want to see him doing.
I was close to McAllister,
McAllister was nowhere near
Enzo, and
in my top 5.
And Bruno G were so close to the edge of mine.
Enzo's World Cup. Enzo has done nothing. He was good for Chelsea.
Enzo was
he was.
Oh, sorry. On the
Chelsea was so poor.
We definitely overlooked Thiago Silva.
Yes.
Who's
like, but because Chelsea's so poor.
Yeah, but that's the only reason.
Okay, I think it's just a different way that we're approaching these top 5 is why we're having.
We're similar. It's just that I've got a different viewpoint.
I think we're just approaching different.
No,
I look at Bruno's last 5 years. I look at all 5.
I just think you rate Bruno and he doesn't rate him as much. I just think it's that deep. I don't think it's that deep, Tots.
No, I just think when I look back at people
as an Arsenal fan watching Bruno, I'm scared of Bruno, but I also hate him. And his stupid little mannerisms, which literally plays into my ranking of him. But you know, if I try to put that aside when I'm ranking him because it's like, in terms of I think his impact on the team and why I think Mason Mount is such a bad signing is because I'm actually scared of Bruno when he's on the pitch. I'm petrified of Rashford and Bruno when we versus you guys. It's like when one of those guys come off or something like that, I was like, thank God. Yeah. Even if he's having an absolute stinker, I know that Bruno just can just whip something up and put in a ball or whip in a long shot or something like that.
I guess that's the difference between Bruno G and Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, Bruno G doesn't have that cross ball nailed it out of nowhere. He could have, because Bruno Fernandes can have an awful 80 minutes, but can ping a ball from left back to the right wing and he can score. But Bruno Guimaraes is so important. Joe Linton, he makes Joe Linton look remarkable because they work so well as a
Joe
three.
Linton is making Joe Linton look remarkable. Yeah. He's been so good.
Because it's Bruno Guimaraes in that midfield.
Obviously there was a point where where you were talking about before in the sense that would next year you see I'd say next year I'd see Bruno doing what Bruno did 2-3 years ago next year. I think he's still capable of doing that. Yeah. So therefore he's in your top 5 midfielders because there's
it doesn't mean he's therefore in it.
Bruno Guimaraes can score 55 goals next year and have 25 assists.
But I don't think he's capable of doing that.
I'm talking
about what people are capable of. That's why. But
it's like,
and it's probably not likely.
But Lucas Paquetá could do that as well.
Guimaraes' game is defensively is significantly better than Bruno's defensively. It's like Rodri was our number 2. Look at his goal contribution. Probably 5 a year.
Bruno Fernandes also defensively isn't playing as deep.
Bruno tracked. Yeah, but this is what we're valuing. We're seeing what we value higher. He reckons he values Bruno G's impact on Newcastle higher than he does Bruno Fernandes. It doesn't mean
that's fine.
If Bruno Fernandes is his number 6, it doesn't mean he's not saying he's the worst player on the planet. He's just saying he's not in my top 5 Premier League.
Can you see the way that because I put Declan Rice 5 because people who can carry the ball, who can have a goal in them. But for me, more importantly, I want someone who can defend.
And just for us too, a reason Declan Rice isn't in our top 5.
I'll tell you why I disagree with you.
He hasn't done it.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
For me, he hasn't done it at Arsenal.
You're right. You need 2 midfielders who can carry, defend really good. Yeah. But to me,
you got one.
You need. Listen, your number 10 is an attacker in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
No, I don't care about the defensive output at all.
No, 100%. I'm not just denying that.
So why are we considering Bruno's defensive output at all?
Because he can do it as well.
No, because you don't care about the defensive output. But Odegaard defensively is really good. You know, he doesn't slide tackle all the time, but he
Bruno isn't that bad defensive. I'm not saying.
Oh my God, Tots.
No, we're not saying he's bad at all, but we're talking about the creme de la creme.
It's an opinion.
Yeah.
And you have him and he just doesn't think he's in the top 5 when there's 5 other amazing midfielders in the league.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
I like a midfielder who has a chart where everything's good.
It's not just wrong to not have Bruno. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes was decent last year. You know, he doesn't walk into the top 5 on his last year's form. He's in there because he had an amazing 2 years before that, and it's like that's why he's in my top 5. You know, because he scares me because I know what he can produce. He didn't produce it all the time last year. He is annoying.
He's a menace. He's a menace.
He is so annoying. And defensively, he's a bit of a liability sometimes when I watch because I think he doesn't track back. He gets a little bit lazy, gives away stupid fouls.
I think more of a foul thing. But for me, I
think he's
because he tracks back.
He gets in there enough because he does enough attacking, and he still tracks back and blah blah blah. So I think it's a much of a muchness.
We agree. De Bruyne, Rodri, Casemiro, Odegaard, and then Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah,
that's our 5. We agree with that? Yeah.
I'm ready to see these forwards because I reckon I'll be.
You'll be different.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I'm. Gee.
Well, should we just agree on number 1?
Okay, so Haaland.
No.
What is wrong with you?
Kane, you okay?
No, I
don't
don't
Kane
think-
either.
What is wrong?
No,
with
Kane. Sorry, I put Kane as number 1. Yeah.
Okay. Kane, I can. Let me go through one.
I put Haaland 3.
Okay, let me go. Before we start with you.
He has Rashford.
Yeah, okay.
2.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't.
Stop. Let me just go with. Let us talk and do our 5, and then we go.
I can't deal with you.
So I've got Haaland first. Speaks for itself.
Yeah.
The goal machine himself. Harry Kane, incredible.
Yeah.
Tottenham are absolute dog water, and he was
He's
scoring
number
20
3.
plus goals.
Honestly, that's a really good shout for number 1, to be honest.
Salah at 3.
Okay, so I'll put your top 3.
Despite having a mid-season, his output was
How
still
a lot of output is
remarkable.
crazy.
He's still remarkable. He's an output player.
I'm not a
4.
1 year like. Yeah.
Listen, 4 Saka, like Arsenal, right? Like you have to have Arsenal players in there because
Yeah.
their output is incredible. And speaking about output, Martinelli is my 5th because
Okay.
the amount of goals and assists
Okay,
that
so
guy.
you obviously don't have Martinelli. That's obvious.
I don't have Martinelli. Yeah. I've got Saka.
Yeah, okay. But I know who you got in. Flynn,
Oh, you know who my 5 is. Everyone knows who my 5 is.
You go yours, Flynn. Because this tot's going to be outrageous here.
I'm going to go.
I don't think it's that outrageous.
Oh, now you made me think about number 1 or 2. Because obviously, so my number 1 and 2,
They're interchangeable
obviously,
for me,
yeah,
but
Haaland
treble
and
specs.
Kane. Just in terms of like I'm going to put Haaland
Because he won stuff, you
number
just have to
1.
put him there, right?
But it is a weird one in the sense that Kane was doing so well.
And they were awful.
And he's done it for years. He's done it every 10 years now.
Well, that was my
He's
reason
so good
behind
goal
it.
and
I
assists.
can get that point,
Like
yeah.
he can, he's creative. He can play up top. He's obviously insane.
The thing is for me as well, though, for Kane, he had no, like the year before Son Kane, there was
Now
nothing.
it's just Kane.
He had nothing to help.
That's what I'm saying. He had nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and the guy's still scoring against.
So for me, you can switch, but I think because Haaland's won 3 trophies, 3 of the biggest trophies in the world.
He's got 30 Premier League goals still, remember Kane?
He's got 28.
He didn't get a 30. I think he got the tie 20.
Well, pretty close.
Regardless.
They're both
I
there.
think for all of us, it's very interchangeable in terms of like.
Mine and so.
Oh, I don't think it's interchangeable because I don't even have Haaland at 2.
That is blasphemy. Yeah, okay.
Like,
You keep
I
going
can't
with
believe
yours.
I can't believe you don't have Haaland.
I think Salah's
He is
better
the
than
best.
So, let him go, let him
Haaland
go,
is
let him
the
go.
best goal scorer that the world has ever seen. Haaland is the best goal scorer that the world has ever seen. Like, I don't think. Look, if you need to see him for do it for 10 years to make that claim, then I think
But it's his first season in the Prem. Salah's done it for 7-8 years.
He hasn't done it. He hasn't done it like this though. He hasn't scored goals like this.
Salah still had like 32 goal contributions this year.
The pre-COVID year was nuts for Salah.
And everyone was going, Salah had
Once
a bad
again?
year this year. Salah had a bad year.
I was one of those guys until I really deeped it and really looked into it and watched some of the stuff.
Salah,
he was incredible. I'm not
unfortunately,
done.
his standard was so high
He still
that
scored, I think, if I'm correct, 19 and 10.
I thought it was 20.
19 and 10 or 20 and 10. I don't know.
You keep talking. I'll check out.
So I just think that like Haaland has to be top 2
No.
because and he's only going to be surpassed by Kane, and that's because we're giving so much credit to how bad Spurs are, and and how impressive it is to do it in such a bad team. But I just think with Haaland, I think he's literally the best goal scorer the world has ever seen.
I think the top 3
there has
for
been
me.
no one. No, I don't care if it's Ronaldo or Messi, whoever it is, who can finish,
Who can manufacture,
who can score goals
Yeah.
as well as Haaland can. He just puts chances away.
Yeah.
And I know he gets a lot of opportunity being in City's team, but I just think that is so impressive.
But you say that though, but he has to. He only gets a few touches a game.
Yeah. And
the
he's
ability to
also
score a goal with a few touches
he's also
is remarkable.
He goes into every game knowing that the centre back is going to be
She's holding him.
It's not going to be like we're in Arsenal's team or where they sort of have to pay attention to all 3 of them. It's okay, these guys can score around him, but it's we know you're the main man.
We are putting all your attention.
And he still finds ways to absolutely body everyone. So look,
I think the top 3 for me are so far ahead of 4 and 5. But then I think they're very interchangeable. But I just don't think I can put Haaland at this right now.
Nah.
Come to me in 6 months, Haaland will be my number 1.
What's 6 months going to change though?
Arsenal came second last year, right? Clear second, nearly won the league, right? And yet you're saying that
I'm assuming you're saying
your
Saka's-
4th is going to be Saka. Right?
Yep.
And you're saying,
You're saying he's nowhere near the top 3.
Obviously, he's near. Everyone's a world
No,
class player.
I think the top 2 are clear, right? In terms of
goal
in terms
scoring
of-
ability.
In terms of, I think they're and Salah is obviously like a generational player, right? But I think the top two I think Kane is borderline already a legend. And I think
Harry Kane is a Premier League legend. Like we're talking about Premier League, he's a Premier League legend.
Kane is obviously a Premier League legend. Unfortunately, he hasn't won anything, so makes it harder.
Okay.
And Haaland, I think, will 100% go down as like an all-time great. I think he should win the Ballon d'Or this year.
Okay, if you want to do a combined one, I'm happy to put Haaland at number 2.
Hold on, Salah. I think to his own detriment had a poor year because he was so good like in the years before that. But at the same time, it's like I also just think that. Firstly, he gets 90 minutes every game.
Yep.
So he is the absolute starter.
And he's that target,
right? But he also had an amazing season. Yeah. So he also had a very good season compared to his amazing ones in the past.
I think what hurts him though as well, because a lot of the times, like I fall into the habit of it. Like a lot of people do. The first sort of 5-6 games, if it doesn't go well, automatically we think it's not going well. Yeah. And he did pretty quiet because Núñez was like getting his awkward tap in things. Yeah. Jota had scored early on. Like he didn't get like a bulk goals early, like he always does every season.
Also like when they beat Bournemouth 9-0, he didn't get a goal or
7 goals.
He didn't get a goal or assist.
Yeah, so that like in your head subconsciously you don't think he's doing well, but his season was so consistent through the back half from Christmas onwards. Yeah. So
he just found a way to contribute.
I think it was very good.
I think with all of these picks, it's just my thought process on how I'm picking it is different to your thought process.
That makes opinion.
I don't think we differ that much. Salah's going to be my number 3.
And he's
been so good in the past.
Yeah, and we've got even though I think
Saka was definitely team of the season right wing last year.
Yeah, but I agree with you as well. Saka was better.
So I think we're thinking about it pretty similarly.
If
Salah is our number 3 player in this list,
well, yeah,
and Saka, who was definitely better than him last year, like, even though their contribution might be similar,
they dropped.
Saka just scored way more. I guarantee there'd be like a stat on how important his goals were. Yeah. Scored way more important goals than Salah.
And the eye check.
And then you guys got 5, both Martinelli.
Nah. I need. I
got Rashford at 5.
So you're at 5. So you're gonna go Harry Kane, Salah, Haaland, Saka, Rashford.
What Saka did for me last year, just to like absolutely conquer him in this list, is that my skepticism of Saka before last year was that like I thought he had everything besides end product.
Which is I had the same problem with him.
And I was like, I just don't know if he's going to kick on to if he's going to score enough goals to be that level. But last year, I don't know how many goals he scored, but it would have been like close to 20. It was borderline close to 20.
His goal and assist
and he scored good goals too. That goal away at Old Trafford.
Nuts.
The one bottom left.
And he had the offside goal. Didn't he have the offside goal as well? Was that his offside goal? The one that got ruled back at Old Trafford? Was that him as well?
Can't remember.
I'm sure. Remember, the start of the game, there's a foul in midfield. I'm sure he scored that as well.
Yeah, he might have. I don't
started the season,
but he's gone from just scoring kind of these one-on-ones, tap in things, to scoring absolute legit worldies, and scoring out of nothing, which I think which I thought he lacked before. So I think Saka is just going to kick on again, and I think he's an absolute staple in terms of being one of the best players.
I think.
And then at 5, I don't know.
Were we completely dismissing Tony?
I was about to say
Tony. I was going to Tony as well, but I want to get some wingers in there. I want to get some wingers.
Performing in a bad team.
We're
giving Kane's credit. Tony scored 17, 18 goals.
He scored 20 last
year. But the last 2 years he's scored 17 and 20.
On average, I think it was 18 goals.
Playing in an 11th and 12th place team. Yeah. Or 11th and 10th. So he's I think we will see how important Ivan Toney is now.
Big time.
Now that he's not here. And the other thing about Tony is
halfway through.
When he's taking pens, he's just the safest player on the planet to take a penalty.
It is so calm.
I think he missed 1 pen last year. I think it was his first.
It was the Pope save.
Pen ever missed. He's just he's clutch. He can hold up play. He's an absolute. He'd be a staple in whatever team he played in. In the sense that he'd be the target man in any team.
Yeah. Are you gonna go with him?
I think he's definitely. I think he's definitely an option. I just think it's so competitive. I think obviously
Martinelli's output is nuts. You can't ignore that output.
The only thing about Martinelli now is that he's almost not gonna. He's Max only gonna play 60 minutes every game now because Trossard's so good. It's whereas Saka feels like the absolute state.
He's a poster boy. He has to play.
Yeah. So Martinelli's a weird one.
Our 5s are pretty they would be 6, 7 in the other people's list. So I don't think that you can't do it. Well, Rashford would be
who are we gonna agree on?
top 8 for you, wouldn't it?
And Rashford is obviously I'm disagreeing. Rashford, like if Rashford
was so important
if you know if I got Rashford's last year again for the next 5 years, he'd be an absolute walk in the top 5.
Yeah.
Like
I'll be there every year.
Obviously, he'd be an absolute walk in the top 5.
Team of the season, halfway through, he was team of the season.
Like with Rashford's career, it's literally gone like this.
Yeah,
and, bang, and it's just like.
What are we going to get this year? What are we going to get this year? That's the thing.
The one thing about Rashford, though, is as I said about Bruno before, it's like he always scares me so much.
He has something in him.
Because he has like when we talk about something in him, he seriously can bang that thing.
Well, it will scare you after that goal when he makes party and just
scary.
That was nuts.
Bang.
I'm probably going to go Rashford as my 5.
Okay, so we can look in Rashford 5 then. Yeah. So how are we going to order this top 3 then?
Can we do Kane 1, Haaland 2?
If we're factoring in,
I can agree, but I feel like it's such an injustice to a guy who's going to travel.
No, honestly, for me, I'm going to go Kane 1 and Haaland 2 because
I
think
Salah 3, Saka 4, Rashford 5.
I've never really subscribed heaps to like this trophy thing so much. Like you have to win trophies. Yeah, I'm going to say that Kane. Okay. Like I think anyone who would deny that City could have won the treble this year if Kane was in there instead of Haaland is nuts. So look, if I think about it in that sense, I think Kane could have easily replicated what Haaland did last year and could have done it for the last 5 years. So I'm going to go Kane as the best
So Kane, Haaland, Salah, Saka, Rashford.
So just, who's the best player in the league then?
Kane or KDB? KDB for me.
KDB for me.
It's a tough one.
Would you? Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
I feel like KDB is just such a boring.
He's just done it so many times. That's
why
KDB
is such a KDB like almost goes under the radar with like his contributions and stuff.
But like he's gonna go up there now in the conversations with like the big time players, right?
In terms of the best. Well, he's definitely in the conversation with best Premier.
This generation, what we've had, he's got to go up there.
And just unfortunately,
Ronaldo Messi been kicking about.
Like, it's a weird one as well because KDB has kind of come into fruition like as soon as like in Ronaldo Messi's like sort of final years of being the best. And then it's like there was like never any conversation like KDB has he's done this for like 6-7 years now, but he'll probably go down as potentially the best Premier League midfielder ever.
And it's because
there's definitely a conversation
there's so many other
there to be had.
I mean, he's going to be the center attacking mid staple in the Man City dynasty,
and
and
all Premier League like 11s. I think he has to now be at like 10.
I mean, like in terms of Premier League all time midfielders, like who else?
One of the Lampard, Scholes,
Scholes, Lampard. Well, I mean, Scholes was in that United era, like
dynasty.
But was he even there the whole time?
Yeah, he was a class of 92. He was like,
it was so it's like, KDB will be
I think he
absolute staple.
I think he has to over all 3 English guys, over Gerrard, Scholes and Lampard.
100%. It might be 100% he's over the
people think they get
I'd say the only one is Lampard a little bit with his goal contributions.
I think Lampard can sit in behind him because
KDB has some nuts goal contributions.
Oh no, you're right.
We won't
I haven't. That's another day.
It'd be a 50-50 either way. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right, we finally got there in the end. There's some interesting calls for myself I've seen because I got some interesting faces across for the defenders.
I vouch William Saliba. That's my boy.
Back at him in. We are coming close. So next week I think we're planning to do a ladder prediction because that could take forever. We could be here for hours on end next week for that.
So wait, when's the Prem start?
The Prem is
that following.
So next
Friday.
weekend, the following week. So we'll have one more show before the Premier League starts. So that's really exciting. I'm excited for that. We're back on it.
I got to get up to date with the Prem. I got to put myself in that mindset again.
Oh, and check out. I'm setting up the live streaming stuff, so we're going to try and get some live watch-alongs going on throughout the season. So keep an eye out for that. If you're hanging around this long, congrats, well done. You've done well. You've listened to our waffle for an hour and a bit, so appreciate that. Please like, subscribe, all those good things. Keep sharing with your mates. We're close to 100. We're 99 subs at the moment, so one more sub to 100. Appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys very soon for another Away Day show.